Sup nation, Maverick here with episode 4 of our Battlefield 3 guide. Last episode I made a pistol review, and the time before that I made a specialization guide. If you've missed those, do not worry, because as always, there will be annotations to those at the end of this video. In this episode I'll be covering the bipod and the grip. So first let's talk about the bipod. Just keep in mind that the bipod will not affect your gun in any way until it's deployed. When you do deploy it, your vertical recoil will be decreased by 50%, and your horizontal recoil will be reduced by 75%. Since most guns don't really have much horizontal recoil in the first place, your gun should now only gently pull upwards. Unlike Call of Duty, Battlefield 3 uses aim down sight spread instead of hit scans. So even when you're aiming down sights, you'll still have an invisible crosshair that expands while you're shooting. With the bipod, your aim down sight spread will be reduced by an incredible 94%. So your bullets will basically go wherever you want them to, much like in Call of Duty. However, your aim down sight spread will still increase with every shot, so it is still a good idea to fire in bursts. But if you're like me and you're too lazy to fire in bursts, well, the bipod's got you covered. While using the bipod, your spread per shot will be decreased by 50%. So you could probably fire a whole clip without even missing your target. All of the bipod's benefits that I just talked about are mainly for assault rifles and engineer weapons. Light machine guns gain increased benefits for everything that I just mentioned. They'll get a reduction of about 90% for vertical recoil and about 80% for horizontal recoil. Their aim down sight spread will be decreased by about 99%, and they'll get a spread per shot decreased by 90%. So I don't think I have to tell you this, but use the bipod on light machine guns. That's what they're made for, and the accuracy that you get is close to that of these sniper rifles. I usually only use the bipod on something like the M16. If I'm using something slower like the AUG, AK, or L85, I usually don't attach it because they can handle themselves over range. My final thoughts, however, are to just use the bipod on anything that you have it for. It has absolutely no negative effects, and it's great for holding flags on conquest or defending in rush. Well, alright guys, gather round, cause your Mav is gonna tell y'all a story. Once upon a time, there was an attachmental device called the grip. Now the grip did exactly what you'd think it'd do. It reduced y'all's recoil, of course, so y'all could be more accurate like in them gunfights. Everything was just hunky-dory until one day the evil DICE developmentation team thought it'd be funny to use their powers for evil and totally fuck up a good attachmental device. I'm talking about the grip, of course. And so yeah, that's basically what happened. The grip used to be a purely beneficial attachment, and just like with the FAMAS, DICE decided to take something that was considered overpowered and make it the most underpowered thing possible. The grip will reduce only horizontal recoil by about 20 to 33%, and I say 20 to 33% because different guns receive different amounts of benefits from the grip. A reduction of horizontal recoil for just adding a grip sounds great, right? Well, now while using the grip, your aim down sight spread, as we talked about earlier, will increase by 80 to 125%. Now that's for the assault rifles. For snipers, it'll be a 400% increase, but only less than 25% for engineer weapons and light machine guns. Using the grip will also increase your hip spread. Let's say you're using the AEK, one of the only guns that actually has a noticeable horizontal recoil. So you're telling me that if I want a barely noticeable decrease in the horizontal recoil, I have to avoid long-range gunfights because the accuracy would be too bad, and in close range I don't really care if I have a little recoil, so I'll just hip fire. Oh wait, you fucked that up too? So DICE added an attachment in the game available to half of the guns that only barely help 2 or 3 of them only on medium-sized maps and only at medium range. What the actual fuck, DICE? Like, who designed this? Is he fired yet? I don't know, maybe I'm being sexist assuming that it's a guy who fucked it up. But anyway, If I see someone using the grip, I can safely assume that they have no idea what it does. The casual gamer would most likely assume that, hey, it's a grip. All it does is reduce recoil, but DICE, you fucked this up bad. It honestly feels like they regret putting it in the game to begin with, so instead of just removing it, they completely broke it. It's like in Modern Warfare 2. Grenade launchers were extremely overpowered. Now in Modern Warfare 3, the only way you can actually kill someone with it is with a direct impact. This attachment is a joke and it's broken. Even if it reduced horizontal recoil by 100% on the AEK, all you would get is an M16 that only works at medium range. And the absolute worst part of this is that I don't even think they're going to fix it. This is the patched grip that they've been working on for months. They purposely and knowingly ruined this attachment. Now if this was my game, I would have the grip unlocked at about 300 kills, and I would have it so it reduced all recoil by 10%, which isn't even that much. It would still allow you to choose the Bipod instead, and the 10% recoil reduction would just be a way of saying, thanks, you're very dedicated to this weapon and this game, here's a small bonus. Now there is one weapon that the grip is kind of good on, and that's the A91. The A91 is an engineer weapon, so the grip won't negatively affect it as much as it does for the assault rifles. Also, the A91 has the most horizontal recoil for the engineer class, if not the whole game. On top of that, the A91 is a bullpup weapon, meaning the magazine is behind the trigger. And DICE decided to give all bullpup weapons increased hipfire accuracy, so the grip's negative hipfire effects are cancelled out. And if you equip a heavy barrel to the A91, the negative aim down sight spread will also be cancelled out. But I don't want to get into too much detail about the A91 because this isn't the review for that, and next episode I'll be covering all of the barrel attachments. If you're watching this way past the upload date, then make sure to click on our Battlefield 3 guide playlist in the description to stay up to date on our new episodes. Whether you contribute to the conversation below, or you just leave an honest rating and move on with your life, I would just like to take the time to thank you all for watching. And although this was more of a non-serious rant than anything else, I am really disappointed with DICE's choices when it comes to the grip. Anyway, if you would like to, you could help spread this video around, and with enough support, maybe we can fix the grip. Until next time, this has been Maverick from the Achievement Nation, signing off.